My name is Ethan, and I never thought my life would turn into something that felt like a movie, an unfair one. It all began 6 months after my divorce. My ex-wife, Maya, and I had separated peacefully, at least I thought so. We agreed to go our own ways, no anger, no drama. Or that's what she told me. After the divorce, I focused on my job. I worked as a travel photographer, which meant I spent most of the year abroad. I visited countries, captured landscapes, and published photos for magazines. My life was simple, quiet, and far from messy. At least, until the day my entire world flipped upside down. It was a rainy Thursday morning when 2 police officers knocked on my apartment door. I thought maybe they were looking for someone else, but when they said my name, Ethan Cole, my heart dropped. "Yes," I said, confused. One officer looked serious. "You're being served with a restraining order." I blinked. "Eh, what?" The officer handed me a thick envelope. "It's from your ex-wife, Maya. She claims you've been stalking her for several months." I felt the room spin. Stalking? That's impossible. I've been out of the country. I haven't even seen her since the divorce. But the officers only shrugged. "You can tell that to the judge." My hands shook as I closed the door. I sat down, tore open the envelope, and began reading. My breath became heavy. Maya claimed I followed her car. Maya claimed I watched her from outside her gym. Maya claimed I stood near her apartment at night. None of it was true. Not one single word. I wasn't even in the same country. I looked around my quiet apartment. It felt unreal, like someone else's nightmare. Why would Maya lie? Why would she do something like this? What did she want? I grabbed my phone and tried calling her. She didn't pick up. I texted her once. "Maya, why are you doing this? I haven't been here." No reply. My mind raced. I checked my old emails, my travel dates, my passport stamps. I had proof of every country I visited: Japan, Italy, Canada. I had been everywhere except here. So why was she accusing me of stalking? The next morning, my lawyer, Mr. Harris, met me at his office. He looked at the documents Maya submitted. "This is serious," he said. "If the judge believes her, you could face criminal charges." I felt my stomach twist. But I didn't do anything. I wasn't even in the U.S. "Do you have proof?" "Yes." "My passport." He leaned back, finally looking relieved. "That might save you." But something still didn't make sense. Why was Maya doing this now? After months of silence? After pretending she wanted peace? Mr. Harris continued reading and suddenly frowned. "This is interesting," he said. "She filed this the same week she asked the court to increase spousal support." I felt anger rise in my chest. So she's trying to make me look dangerous? So the court gives her more money? "It's possible," he said. Possible. It was starting to feel obvious. I went home angry, confused, but determined. I opened my drawer and pulled out my passport. I stared at the stamps, each one proving where I was. Each one proving my innocence. Japan, 3 months. Italy, 2 weeks. Greece, 1 month. Canada, 10 days. I wasn't here. I couldn't have followed her. I didn't stalk her. But she had already told the court I did. And the hearing was in 3 days. I closed my eyes and whispered to myself, "She has no idea what's coming." Because when I walk into that courtroom, the truth won't just defend me. It will destroy her lies. The next 3 days felt like 3 long years. I barely slept. I kept checking the same documents again and again. Passport stamps, flight tickets, hotel bookings. Every detail mattered now. Every date, every location. I needed everything to be perfect. On the night before the hearing, I sat alone in my apartment, the passport lying open on the table. The stamps felt like tiny pieces of truth that no one could change. But still, there was fear in my chest. What if the judge believed her before seeing my proof? What if people whispered behind my back? What if my reputation was already damaged? I took a deep breath. "No," I whispered to myself. The truth is stronger than fear. The next morning, I dressed in a simple blue shirt, dark pants, and shoes that I had cleaned twice. I didn't want to look angry. I didn't want to look scared. I just wanted to look honest, because I was. When I reached the courthouse, people were moving fast, papers in hand, faces serious. My lawyer, Mr. Harris, waited near the entrance. "You ready?" he asked. "No," I admitted. "But I'm here." He smiled gently. "That's enough." As we walked toward the courtroom, my heart pounded harder. I could hear voices inside, echoing. I could feel the tension before even stepping in. And then I saw her. Maya stood near her lawyer, wearing a long beige coat and a serious face. For a moment, I felt something old, memories of the person I once loved. But that feeling disappeared when I saw the way she looked at me. Cold, sharp, confident, as if she truly believed I was guilty. As if she wanted me to be guilty. As if this whole thing was just a game she wanted to win. Her lawyer whispered something to her, and she nodded quickly. She didn't even look nervous. It hurt. She saw me as an enemy now. When the judge entered, everyone stood up. The room fell silent. The air felt heavy, like everything depended on the next few minutes. The judge looked at Maya first. "Ms. Reed, please begin." Her lawyer stood. "Your Honor, my client has experienced months of fear. She has seen Mr. Cole near her workplace, outside her home, and even following her car at night. She fears for her safety." Maya nodded, eyes suddenly full of tears that I knew were fake. I clenched my jaw. Then the lawyer continued. "We request a permanent restraining order. Mr. Cole has shown patterns of obsessive behavior." "Objection," Mr. Harris interrupted. "There is no evidence." The judge lifted a hand. "Let him finish. You'll have your turn." I felt heat rise in my chest. Patterns. Obsessive behavior. I wasn't even in the country. Maya's lawyer continued describing scenes that never happened. Nights I supposedly waited outside her building. Days I followed her car. Moments I stared at her from across streets. All lies. All made up. And she didn't blink once. When they finished, the judge turned to me. "Mr. Cole, do you have anything to say?" My lawyer looked at me and nodded gently. I stood up slowly. My hands were steady now. My heart felt clear. "Yes, Your Honor," I said softly. I reached into my bag and took out the small blue item that held my freedom. My passport. I placed it on the table in front of the judge. "Your Honor," I said, "during all the months she claims I followed her, I was not even in this country." Maya stiffened. Her eyes widened. Her mouth opened slightly. The judge raised an eyebrow. "Explain." I opened the passport slowly, turning it to the first stamp. And I said, "I wasn't stalking her. I was thousands of miles away." The room went silent. Maya's face slowly lost all color. And for the first time, I saw fear in her eyes. The judge leaned forward slightly, studying my passport as if it were a puzzle piece he needed to fit into the truth. The room felt frozen. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Even Maya stopped pretending to cry. I turned the passport page slowly. "Your Honor," I said, keeping my voice calm, "on the date she claims I followed her home, I was in Japan." I showed the stamp. Tokyo, arrival. Date, exactly the day she mentioned. The judge scanned it carefully, then looked at Maya. Her face went pale. I flipped to the next page. "And on the night she says I stood outside her gym, I was in Italy." Another stamp. Rome, arrival. Same week as her second accusation. I could see Maya's hands start to shake. Her lawyer coughed, clearly uncomfortable. "Your Honor, this doesn't mean—" "Quiet," the judge said firmly. My lawyer nodded at me, signaling me to continue. I opened another page. "And when she claims I drove behind her car for 3 nights in a row. I was in Greece doing photography work." Stamp. Athens. Entry date. I looked up at the judge. "I have flight bookings, hotel receipts, and contract emails if you need more proof." The judge raised a hand. This is enough for now. Maya's mouth opened, but she didn't speak. She blinked hard, like she was trying to stop tears from falling, but not the same fake ones she used earlier. These tears were from panic. The judge closed my passport and set it on the desk gently. "Ms. Reed," he said slowly, "you claimed Mr. Cole stalked you for months. Do you wish to explain how he did that while being out of the country?" Maya swallowed loudly. I don't. I mean, maybe the dates, maybe he—" Her lawyer jumped in quickly. "Your Honor, my client may have been mistaken on a few dates, but her fear—" The judge cut him off again. "Mistaken on all dates?" Silence filled the room again. Maya looked at the floor, then at the wall, then at me. She couldn't look the judge in the eye. My lawyer stood and said calmly, "Your Honor, the claims made against my client are not mistakes. They are lies." Maya flinched. "And," he continued, "we believe Ms. Reed had a motive." The judge glanced at him. "Explain." My lawyer opened a folder and pulled out a paper. 2 weeks before filing this restraining order, Ms. Reed also filed a request to increase spousal support. The judge's eyebrows lifted. My lawyer continued, "If Mr. Cole was seen as unstable or dangerous, she could receive more benefits from the court." The judge turned to Maya again. "Ms. Reed, do you deny this?" Her voice came out small. I was afraid. I thought." "No," I said quietly, unable to stay silent any longer. "You wanted more money, and you tried to destroy my name to get it." Maya finally looked at me. Her eyes were red, full of guilt and fear. "Ethan, please. But her lawyer touched her arm, signaling her to stop. The judge took a deep breath, leaned back, and said, "Ms. Reed, your accusations were serious. If they were true, we would take strong action. But based on this evidence," he tapped my passport, "your claims do not match reality." Some people in the courtroom began whispering. Maya looked around, embarrassed and terrified. The judge continued, "I am not only dismissing this restraining order request, but I am also considering possible consequences for filing a false report." Maya gasped. "No. Please, I didn't mean, I wasn't." Her sentences fell apart. The judge stood. "We will take a short break. When we return, we will discuss what happens next." He hit the gavel. Everyone stood. Maya stayed frozen in her chair, staring at nothing. As I walked past her, she whispered in a small, trembling voice, "Ethan, please don't let them punish me. Please." I didn't answer, because the truth hadn't even fully come out yet. There was still one more twist Maya wasn't prepared for. When the judge stepped out, the courtroom slowly filled with soft whispers. Lawyers talked among themselves. People stood up to stretch. Papers shuffled. But one person didn't move at all. Maya. She sat completely still, hands shaking, face pale like she had seen a ghost. I watched her for a moment. She wasn't the woman I married anymore. She wasn't even the woman I divorced. She was a stranger, someone who would lie in court just to take more from me. Mr. Harris, my lawyer, leaned closer to me and whispered, "This is going very well for us. But stay calm. Don't talk to her. Let the judge handle everything." I nodded, even though a part of me felt heavy. I never wanted revenge. I just wanted the truth. Suddenly, Maya stood up and walked toward me. Her steps were slow, unsteady. Her lawyer tried to stop her, whispering, "Maya, no, sit down," but she ignored him. She stopped just a few feet from me. "Ethan," she whispered, barely able to speak. "I'm sorry." Her voice cracked like thin glass. "I didn't know it would go this far," she continued. "I didn't think the judge would take it so seriously. I needed help. I needed money. I was scared." I looked at her calmly. "Scared of what?" I asked. She bit her lip, shaking. "Scared of being alone. Scared of starting over. Scared that you moved on, and I didn't." Her honesty surprised me for a second, but then I remembered the lies, the fake tears, the false accusations. I turned slightly away. Needing money doesn't give you the right to destroy someone's life. A weak sob escaped her. I know, she wiped her face. I was wrong. Please tell the judge not to punish me. I didn't reply. Because the truth was, whether she liked it or not, the judge wasn't finished. And neither was fate. After the break, the judge walked back in. Everyone stood. Maya sat down quickly, wiping her tears. He adjusted his glasses and looked straight at her. Ms. Reed, before we discuss consequences, I need to ask you one final question. Maya swallowed. Yes, Your Honor. Do you still claim that Mr. Cole followed you, approached you, or threatened you in any way? Her shoulders collapsed. No, Your Honor, she whispered painfully. None of it is true. Gasps moved across the courtroom. Her lawyer closed his eyes as if he already knew the case was over. The judge nodded slowly. Thank you for your honesty. But dishonesty has consequences. Maya shook her head, tears returning. No, please. The judge raised a hand. Ms. Reed, filing a false restraining order is a serious matter. It wastes the court's time and harms innocent people. Based on the evidence, I am dismissing your petition and... He paused, turning toward her lawyer. I am also ordering an investigation into your statements. Maya gasped loudly and covered her mouth. This wasn't just embarrassment anymore. It was fear. Real fear. Her lawyer stood quickly. Your Honor, my client is willing to apologize formally and withdraw all claims. Noted, the judge said, but the process will continue. Maya began to cry harder, unable to control herself. I looked down at my hands, feeling a strange mix of relief and sadness. I didn't want her punished. I just wanted my name cleared. I wanted respect. I wanted peace. The judge turned to me next. Mr. Cole, you are free from all accusations. The court sees no reason to issue any restraining order against you. My chest loosened. For the first time in weeks, I breathed fully. But then, the judge added something unexpected. Also, Mr. Cole, we received an additional document this morning from your employer. It relates directly to this case. I frowned. From my employer? The judge held up a sealed envelope. This document reveals something Ms. Reed does not know, and something very important for this court to hear. Maya's crying stopped instantly. She stared at the envelope with wide, terrified eyes. I felt my heartbeat rise. What did my employer send? What could possibly connect to this case? The judge opened the envelope. Maya clutched the table. I leaned forward. And then, the judge began to read the first line. What he said next changed everything. The judge opened the envelope slowly, carefully. The entire room leaned forward, even the people who weren't involved in our case. Maya's crying stopped instantly. She stared at the judge like she already knew something terrible was coming. My heart pounded in my chest. The judge adjusted his glasses and read the first line. Mr. Cole was not only out of the country during the months in question. He was working under an official international contract. The courtroom went silent. The judge continued reading. According to his employer, Mr. Cole served as the lead photographer on an overseas assignment that required strict location tracking. His presence was documented every day. Maya covered her mouth. The judge lifted another paper. This includes GPS logs, signed work reports, and daily check-ins. His employer confirms he could not physically be in this country during the dates Ms. Reed claimed he stalked her. My lawyer almost smiled. Maya's lawyer looked defeated. But the judge wasn't finished. There is also a second document, he said. One that concerns Ms. Reed. Maya's head snapped up. She concerns me, she whispered. The judge opened the next page and read. During Mr. Cole's international assignment, our HR department received a report about an individual repeatedly contacting the company under Mr. Cole's name. I frowned. What? The judge continued. Someone used Mr. Cole's identity to request sensitive information. Someone pretended to be him while he was abroad. Gasps echoed around the courtroom. My lawyer's eyes widened. Your Honor, are they saying Maya? The judge raised a hand. Let me finish. He read the next part slowly, clearly. The person making the calls used a female voice. Maya's shoulders stiffened. I stared at her. The judge kept reading. She contacted the company 14 times. Each time, she claimed she was checking on her husband's work location and demanded details of his travel schedule. Whispers filled the room. Maya shook her head violently. And no, I didn't. I was just... The judge lifted his eyes to her. Ms. Reed, the company provided phone records. All calls were made from your registered home number. Her face turned white. Her lawyer grabbed her arm. Maya, stop talking. But she couldn't stop. Her voice cracked as she spoke. I wasn't stalking him. I was just confused. I thought he was with someone else. I needed to know where he was. The judge's expression became sharp. So you felt the right to follow his movements, while accusing him of following yours. Maya froze. Everyone in the courtroom was staring at her now, shocked, disgusted, disappointed. The judge continued, his voice cold. Ms. Reed, this is called harassment. And filing false accusations to hide your own behavior is a serious crime. Her lips trembled. I didn't want him to move on first, she whispered. I was lonely. He left the country. He got busy. I felt abandoned. Her voice broke. But that doesn't excuse your lies, the judge said. Your actions caused real damage. You tried to ruin an innocent man's life. Tears ran down Maya's face. Please, Your Honor. I'm sorry. I really am. The judge didn't soften. I will announce my final decision shortly. But be prepared, Ms. Reed. The consequences will not be light. He turned to me next. Mr. Cole, do you wish to respond? I stood slowly, my heart calm now. Yes, Your Honor. I looked straight at Maya. For months, I thought you hated me, I said softly. But the truth is, you didn't hate me. You feared losing control. Maya looked away, ashamed. You accused me of stalking, I continued, but you were the one tracking me. You were the one making secret calls. You were the one watching me. Her tears fell harder. I turned to the judge and bowed my head respectfully. Your Honor, I don't want revenge. I only want the truth on record. The judge nodded. That is exactly what we're doing. He picked up his gavel. When we return, he said, I will give the final judgment. He hit the gavel sharply. The sound echoed like thunder. Maya collapsed into her chair, shaking, because she knew the judge's next words would change her life forever. When the judge returned, the room fell into complete silence. Even the sound of papers stopped. Everyone knew the next few minutes would decide everything. My freedom, my name, and Maya's fate. Maya sat hunched forward, her hands shaking so much that even the table trembled. She didn't look at me. She didn't look at anyone. She just stared at the floor as if she hoped it would open and swallow her. The judge took his seat, cleared his throat, and began. After reviewing all evidence, the court concludes the following. My heart beat slowly, steadily. Maya didn't move. First, the judge continued, the restraining order request is dismissed. It has no factual base and was supported by false statements. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. I closed my eyes for a second and breathed. But the judge wasn't done. Second, Ms. Reed falsely accused Mr. Cole of criminal behavior. This is an abuse of the legal system. Maya squeezed her eyes shut. Her whole body shook. And third, the judge said firmly, Ms. Reed's own actions, calling his employer, tracking his movements, impersonating him, point toward harassment, not fear. A soft sound escaped Maya, half sob, half shock. Therefore, the judge said, Ms. Reed will face consequences. My stomach tightened. I didn't want her destroyed. I didn't want her punished harshly. I just wanted justice. The judge listed the consequences slowly. Ms. Reed, you will be required to attend 6 months of mandatory counseling for filing a false report. You will also pay a fine for wasting court resources. Additionally, all your claims will be removed from public record to protect Mr. Cole's reputation. Maya nodded weakly, tears rolling down her face. But then the judge added one more thing. And you are forbidden from contacting Mr. Cole directly or indirectly for 1 year unless it is through legal or financial channels. Her breath hitched. She hadn't expected that. I felt light inside. Not happy. Not victorious. Just free. The judge looked at both of us. This case is closed. I hope today's truth brings clarity and change. He hit the gavel. And just like that, it was over. People started moving again. Chairs shifted. Lawyers whispered. Papers closed. But Maya didn't move. She looked like she was frozen in a moment she couldn't escape. I turned to leave when I heard her small, trembling voice behind me. "Ethan, please wait." I stopped but didn't turn around. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "I didn't know I would hurt you this much. I didn't know it would become real. I didn't think they would catch me." I finally turned to face her. Her eyes were red, swollen, full of a pain she created herself. "Maya," I said softly, "you didn't just hurt me. You hurt yourself. All of this, every lie, every fear, every step, was because you didn't want me to move on." She nodded weakly, tears dripping onto her hands. "I still loved you," she whispered. I shook my head gently. "No. You didn't love me. You loved control. You loved the idea of not losing me. But love doesn't trap people. It doesn't lie about them. It doesn't try to destroy them." She covered her face and cried silently. I walked toward the exit. Every step felt lighter, clearer, stronger. Outside the courthouse, sunlight touched my face. It felt warm, like freedom. Like a brand new beginning. Mr. Harris walked beside me. "You handled yourself well," he said. "You deserve peace." I smiled softly. "I'm not angry anymore," I said. "Just ready to move on." He nodded proudly. As I walked away from the courthouse, I knew one thing for certain. The truth always wins. It may take time, but it never fails. And sometimes, the person who tries hardest to bury the truth gets buried by it instead.